This week in car audio. Tune in. We'll be talking about bass, talking about chips, talking about rings. You ain't got them, zip your lip. You got a problem you haven't found, check your grounds. The show about to start. Tune in. This week in car audio. Yeah. Tune in. This week in car audio.
Welcome to This Week in Car Audio with your host, Doug Stockton the Judge. Co-hosting today is going to be my one of my compadres from back east there, Rob Kollar. How you doing, Rob? Just fine. If you guys don't mind real quick, I'm going to be sharing. Since Lucky's not here, I need to try and share this to as many groups as I can. I've already shared it to 3 bowling groups on accident. So they're going to be a little surprised when they see some car audio stuff happening on their bowling groups. Let's see. I got a couple more I got to do here. Anyway, so this tonight we're going to discuss judging, kind of. Definitely some stuff about rules. Potentially something that you guys as competitors may like to see as a rules change. Stuff like that. Maybe something you guys seen at the at your local comps that you did like, stuff you didn't like, and we'll try and get that incorporated. I know Wayne Harris intends to watch this event tonight, so let me switch this out real quick. Episode 42. Save. All right. And then I will, there we go. Steve Willis can't hear Rob. Oh, let me get in there. There's Rob. Sorry about that, Steve. We got Rob fixed now. We got Woody McDonald and James Greiner watching. I don't see anybody on the YouTube side as of yet. So I got YouTube on one screen. I got Facebook on the other screen, so I can watch you guys in the chat. If you guys have something you'd like to say or bring up, that would be the place to do it. We are going to keep this podcast to 1 hour tonight. I do have to be somewhere at 7:15, which is it is currently 6:03. So we will just so you guys know. Okay, so we're going to start off right here, and I am going to bring this up. So you guys can see in the middle of your screen right here for the people listening to the podcast on iHeart, iTunes, and whatever, Bean Pod and all that. In the middle of the screen, we have the class matrix today. I'm going to go over the classes real quick. We have Street Stock 500, Street Stock 1K, Pro Stock 2K, Pro Stock 5K, Pro Stock Trunk 5K, Pro Stock Wall 5K, Pro Stock No Limit, Super Street No Limit, Super Street 1 to 2, Super Street 3 to 4, Super Street 5 Plus, Super Street X, Extreme 5K, Extreme No Limit. Those are our classes. All right, Rob. So let's start with the simple question. Are there any classes do you think we need to get rid of? Or is there any classes do you think that might be out there that we need to add?
Well, get rid of. I don't see a lot of action in the Extreme 5K. I love the class. I love that it's there. Mm-hmm. It's something that I've thought about actually joining or getting into. But there's more rule changes than classes, added. We don't need no more classes. I just think we need to fine tune some of the other stuff.
Okay, so let me share with you also what we talk about as the judging side of this when we're talking about classes and rules changes and whatnot. Wayne essentially has a steadfast rule. We haven't held to it 100%, but what the rule is if we want to add a class, we have to delete a class. So here's where it is, and I think you would understand this as being someone who can or has had shows and been part of them, is when we add classes, that means we got to add trophies. And typically my shows trophies are first through third place. So if I add one class, that is three trophies I got to add. And in general, retail for a trophy is $1.25 per inch. So I use 28-inch trophies for first place for a 1X event. So that's roughly what, $40, $38 for a 1X trophy. That's one trophy I've added because I've added a class. So keep that in mind when we're talking about adding a class or whatever. Yeah, if you have a suggestion to add a class, like I saw somebody put truck class, what class do we delete? And where does it fit within allowing people to compete? And when we do put it in there for somewhere for people to compete, how are we going to get the most impact on the people that are just coming to hang out and watch the show, and how do we get them involved? So those are all the things we as judges and whatnot have to think about and come up with when we're discussing this as rule changes and class changes. So you did pull up 5K. Just for the other people back at home, let's go look right now here at the in right now. I just pulled up on our screen the results of competitors at the East Coast World Finals location. Let's see, Super Street X, Super Street No Wall, Super Street 5 Plus, 3, 4, 1, 2, Stock 5K, Stock 1K, Wall 5K, Trunk 5K, No Limit, Pro Stock 5K, Pro Stock 2K, Extreme No Limit. We had 0 competitors on the East Coast in the Extreme 5K class. And
Exactly.
we only had 2 in the no limit class. Now I will tell you, Wayne will not get rid of the no limit class. Um, because or he will not get rid of extreme because that's where his heart is in this competition. And I mean, it's understandable, right? I mean, as long as you've been around, some of those extreme cars we've seen have been freaking awesome, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that would be one of the last classes for I would ever like to see gone, is
Hmm.
because I mean it's just I remember that when my first show,
Yeah.
seeing extreme vehicles, and that's what stood out to me more than probably anything else.
Hmm. And I will tell you, if you have a true extreme vehicle at one of my events, it has to be a true extreme vehicle. I don't charge you for entry fee, and we just don't give trophies for extreme class. But you can come if you have a true extreme vehicle and compete at my shows at $0. It doesn't matter if it's a 1X, a 3X. The only time it would cost you anything is if I was doing it in conjunction with a car show or something else like that. And that venue had a fee to get through the gate or participate. Because I can't waive their fee, but I definitely can waive my fees during that event, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So we got SQ Sounds. I'm not sure if that's Tristan or Tiffany watching in Barbados today. So we got Barbados watching. I know I've been watching our statistics. We got a handful of people that watch us in Greece every week. Uh, Barbados comes up as something else like Surham or something like that. So that comes up on there. We also have Brazil watching us. We have Germany, and so we have all over the world people watching us. And right now, Illinois, we're getting like, see on my podcast. I'm sorry, this is on the download the podcast audio only. The I think Illinois is getting like 40 downloads a week off the podcast.
Good.
Yeah, so somebody in Illinois, Tristan's on YouTube, Tiffany's on Facebook, she just said. Um, yep, and Tristan just said the same thing on YouTube. So, but anyway, yeah, so that's just so you guys know, New York, Illinois, we're getting a lot of traction back east. And like I said, this is intended to help grow the car audio community and make things better and hopefully get more people involved. As Wayne says, if you guys each bring one person with you to every show, we double, right, in participation. So,
Well, Callie ended up with two. The two guys that came and helped me out are both DB Drag members now.
oh, there you go.
So
That's
so
awesome. All right, so
well worth it.
So one thing I would like to see, and just so you guys know, so I'm looking down here. Some of the rules for the say this street stock 500-watt class has a 50 hertz limit. That's in the street stock 500 and 1K. Um, I do like in those two classes that they have the 50 hertz. Um, they're doing they have a 50 hertz cap on the frequencies, and then you go to the pro stock limits, and they have a 60 hertz cap. Some people do not like that. Um, what are your thoughts on those caps for those classes?
I understand the cap, especially on the 500 1,000 watt classes. I
Hmm.
kind of understand those. I think it's kind of low, but I think it was. I think that it's kind of geared towards some like the pandas and stuff like that. Those things like the higher frequencies, so it might be a way to kind of, I don't know, curb them, but it keeps them in check. It makes it uh, I don't know, makes it easier to compete against. I guess I don't know. I don't know enough about those smaller
Okay.
classes.
So
I know.
I'm big in those smaller classes, obviously. I do a lot of my competitors are there. Hey, thank you, Sam Dunn, for subscribing to me on YouTube, by the way. Um, Sam Dunn says he likes the airbag rule in the 500 and 1K. I'm a big fan of
Yep.
that. Now, that is directly against the Pandas and the CRXs. Now,
Yep.
Wayne couldn't just say, hey, Panda CRX is illegal, because I guarantee somebody would go up and find another car exactly like those or of that type, and those would be all we would see in those classes. So the airbag rule was a huge help to those classes, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And also, like, CRXs love 55, 56 hertz to 58 hertz, depending on what you do to them. Um, this doesn't eliminate them by any means, 50 hertz, because they still get damn loud at 50 hertz.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just like your car, say your car peaks at 62 hertz, say roughly. I don't even know what it does. But I guarantee you go 5, 6 hertz down below that, yeah, it's not going to be as loud as it is, but it's going to be damn loud,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So there's some of the things. So we got the hertz limits in the pro stock class. Um, the conductor rule, I understand that. So the hertz also helps with if you go to a stereo shop, they are not going to tune your system to 65 hertz, right?
No.
And if they are, you're going to the wrong stereo shop.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that being said, that's why that's all the reasoning behind the 50 hertz. The 60 hertz, it really is because we do know the people that are competing in the pro stock classes are not that the other classes are not true competitors, but they are absolutely 100% guys that are usually vested in DB Drag and have been around for many years. So,
Yep.
and it was a good way for us to equal out those things. I'm
Yep.
gonna I'm gonna pull down here now to the next thing. So we got 80 hertz, two conductor deal. It's just a way to limit the amplifiers connected, you know, and that's like I said, two total conductors. That's one positive, one negative, all the way through Pro Stock Wall 5K. Which I was talking to Aaron.
Bryant.
Bryant, Soundcheck Aaron. I was talking to him today, and he thinks there needs to be a Super Street 5K class. I told him, in my opinion, the Pro Stock Wall 5K is Super Street Light. Because essentially it's Super Street with the only difference in the rules is you can't cut the floor. And then on top of that, you have to leave your front seats in. Other than that, it's Super Street.
Yeah. For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
And yeah.
they're just trying to the problems with the vehicles that are doing well in there
Mm-hmm.
could be eliminated if it went to super street rules, um, is what I'm thinking. Because I don't think you can have a double windshield and
You cannot.
see, and these vehicles that they have over time, especially like the caravans and stuff like that, over time, that window frame just gets so weak. You know, RP, his old caravan, that thing would have been stupid with double windshields. Um, but at the time we couldn't have them. But
Hmm.
I think that's what he's trying to get at. And then the seed issue, I kind of understand that, but
So
you know,
so remember when we're judging and we're trying to come up with these set of rules. Like I said, I'm not saying we're right in what we decided. I'm just explaining to how we got to this point. When I started with DB Drag, the rules as a judge was 6 pages long. I believe last year was 27 or 28 pages. So the rules are changing because people like to try to see how far they can push the rules. With that being said, I need to read a rule or a suggestion from our buddy Ray Choi. Ray Choi, the Canadian judge. Um, uh, let's see. I don't want to read all the text. Let's see here. I'll try and read it the best I can. The number one thing I can say over and over again is everyone looks at the rules the wrong way, in his opinion. Everyone always thinks if it isn't written, it is allowed. And in his opinion, and I agree with him. I'm just saying, um, if it's let's see, he says it's considered gray and always and allowed, but we should be looking at it as if it's not written in black and white, it's deemed illegal until written to be legal. I agree with this statement because it's going to make it easier. It says also makes judging for us easier because the onus is on the competitor to find it written in the book to make it legal instead of us as judges trying to figure out why it's illegal. So, and I'm not, don't take this as I'm hating on RP or any of that stuff. RP and I have had this conversation before. Also, real quick, I want to say hey to, let's see, Sam Dunn's in here. We got Chris Jenner. We got Chemo's posting in here. We got Tom Selleck. We got Tate Daniels. We got Gilmore Caro, Stephen Talbot, Michael and Beth Rowe, Jordan Rivers, Elton Burkett. So we got a whole bunch of people in here checking in, seeing what we're talking about. One other question is, are we changing rules this year? Talking to Wayne, he wants to clarify rules. He doesn't want to change rules. We have our 3-year moratorium and all that stuff. So just saying, um, we're not looking to change rules. And also, we're just discussing this. Like I said, Wayne's going to tune into this and he's going to hear what people have to say and what they put in the comments just to kind of get gauge where people are at with this. Okay, so for me personally, I am not a big fan. We're going to go right down here to the stock classes. Max Bolts. You and I, Rob, were talking about this backstage before we started here. And in my opinion, now I get overridden by European judges. And I will tell you, once the rules are set and whatever, I will abide by them 100%. I'm not going to fight another judge on what the rules are. Um, we are absolutely united in saying, hey, these are the rules. We're going to play by them. Now, during the process of trying to come up with the rules, yeah, we get little heated debates about, that's bull crap. And I mean, we argue back and forth. But when it's all said and done and the rules decided, we all abide by them, which is, in my opinion, is good, healthy conversation. And it's necessary. Because if you don't have disagreements, then, or somebody's not looking at the rule hard enough to see where there could be a problem with it, then it's going to create problems throughout the years because DB drag guys are not dumb. So
creative, not dumb.
that's right. Very, very creative. But like I said, in my opinion, I think especially in the power classes, 100% we should remove the voltage max. Just for the sole purpose is I don't care what volts you're doing in. All I care about is the power coming out. So,
Well,
any thoughts on that?
yeah, I would not say the voltage cap. I would say increase the voltage cap because next thing you know, you're going to have somebody running one of those tear amps that are HD and run 48, 50 volts, 100 volts, whatever.
That, that's totally fine because when you overvolt the amplifier, it doesn't read with the term lab, and if it doesn't read with the term lab, then it's not a you can't use that amp in that
Okay.
class,
Fair enough then. Yeah.
right? So it's kind of self defeating, right? So if you try to
Yeah,
do that,
exactly.
it it weeds itself out.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, in my opinion, the 15 volts max. And now I will tell you some of the arguments that the Europeans had because they were the biggest proponents and really wanted these caps. Was they wanted it for a safety feature, but in my opinion, uh, and this is part of when I talk to these people from overseas and whatnot, and they don't they don't understand Americans kind of. And in my opinion, is it's not my place to tell you what's safe. That's your job.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be safe, that's up to you, and that's 100% your right in this country in the United States. It's your right to be as unsafe as you want. But guess what? Darwin always wins.
Yep.
So,
The thing about it is, I mean, how many of these amplifiers are really designed, even knowing what we're going to do to them,
yep.
to run it 0.175 ohm load, for a burp? I mean,
Yeah.
we know the responsibility. We know the outcome if we mess up. So you're right. Why put a voltage cap on it?
Yep.
If you want to be safe, then run it at 15 volts.
Yep.
If you don't want to be safe, run it at 18 volts.
Right. And truly, if they wanted to be safe in Europe too, they would require us to put fuses, right, at every
Exactly.
battery, and that's not a requirement, right? And I will say that they brought that up plenty of times, and this may over time have been the compromise. Hey, you know what? Won't require fuses, but in place of that, we'll put a voltage cap.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not 100% sure. I've been part of all those discussions, but man, in all reality, when we start having those discussions, I have to stop talking to competitors about the rules because they're so swimming in my head until we get them all done. Because there's so many conversations of we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, you know. But this is, like I said, just an opportunity to talk about it. 18 volt max on Super Street, no wall, all the Super Street classes, all the way through X. I don't. The 18, the max voltage, I understand it in that class, because we got to have a point, but because otherwise we're going to be running things like the old Harrison Labs amp, right? Where it'll produce as much power as you can feed it.
Yep.
Because it's nothing more than a car charger, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And the more voltage you feed it, the more amperage it's going to put out. So then you got amperage and voltage put together, and bam, dude, you're putting out 30, 50, 60,000 watts.
I do have one thing that
Okay.
has been coming up a lot over the last couple of years, actually, about Super Street X.
Okay.
The frequency limit.
I love the frequency limit. I was actually a
like
big
50.
proponent for
I don't
that.
like 50. I like 60 because there's a lot of guys out here that are demo guys too that still will play in the 50 hertz range because it tears you up and you're sitting in that thing.
Yes, sir.
And I'm getting a lot of guys that would like to see it bump to 60 so they can play in that class. Right now, they're like, I'm at 55 hertz. There's no way I can drop it down 5 hertz.
And they demo in that class with
yeah,
50?
Oh yeah.
Really?
These guys are demo at 52, 55 hertz.
So I will tell you where this originated. It was with the demo guys, and Wayne, myself, and other judges started asking what frequency songs, and we started checking, and there was almost nobody above 50 hertz. Most of them were playing in the low 30s. So our original thing was we were going to have a 40 hertz cap on it, but through talking, negotiation, speech, and whatnot, we concurred that 50 was about as low as we'd want to go on it. But I will tell you, for quite a bit of time, and I think the 50 was because of the Europeans. Their cars their steel's a lot more dense than ours is, and it makes it more difficult to get down to those frequencies. You know, so I think that's why we ended up settling on 50 hertz, if I remember correctly. Um, so one class to get rid of is potentially Extreme 5K. We have zero participation, one on the West Coast.
I I see something, but maybe I'm jumping a gun here, but
Go ahead.
something else I noticed that is just not as big as we had hoped for
Yep.
was Bagger Beats. Bagger Beats
Okay.
hardly ever
So
has that.
I'm going to pull up Bagger Beats. That's another part. Yeah, let's stay with DB Drag for a quick minute, and then
Okay.
we'll get to Bagger Beats. One
Okay.
of the things that was brought out, like I started saying before, me and RP, we've had a discussion. Aaron and I had a pretty extensive discussion online the other day, today actually, I believe it was, and and RP's Super Street vehicle. That's what's 11 feet in the air, I think is what it is, or 10.5 feet,
It's
something like that.
it's probably everything about 10 feet, yeah, if not
Yeah,
more.
yeah. So that is not the intent of the rule. I talked to RP about it. I talked to Aaron about it, and like, we understand it wasn't the intent of the rule, but it was allowed within the rules. So, with that being said, um, I bel I believe they did. I believe Andrew McCain tested the rules with the double windshield thing, and I think it was a great thing that he did because look what it opened up to us, right, in Super Street
Yeah.
class. So I don't think it's necessarily bad that people test the rules because it opens our eyes to something we may not have seen, right? So I don't think it's a horrible thing. Um, I told RP when I saw his car, I told everybody that would listen, I really don't like his car. But being an impartial judge, if I can't find a rule against it, then it's good to go. I'm not going to judge against their car, right? Um, Bo Bourne just popped in. Bo says they didn't break any rules, so y'all got to suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah.
And
And
I agree.
yeah. And
Um,
I hate the thing too, and I've
mhm,
told them that,
mhm.
but they built it within the rules.
They did.
Um, but one of the rules is spirit of the sport.
Actually, yes, it is. And so
Okay.
that's yep,
That's not spirit of the sport for Super Street. And I'm not hating on RP. I love those guys. They're
yep.
always doing great things. They're innovative,
Mhm,
by far, probably more than most people in this country. But
mhm.
you got to always in the back of your head the spirit of the sport. That's like it's not against the rules for me to run 3 head units and run,
Yep.
64, 65, and 66 hertz each one, burp them at the same time. But we
Right.
don't do it because it's against the spirit of the sport.
Correct. So, but I actually, like I said, I had a pretty lengthy discussion with Aaron, and him and I back and forth, whatnot, and I think we came up with a um, reasonable way to define what you can do, and because no matter what you do in a super street vehicle, the floorboards where the B pillar comes down and goes across, that always stays the same, right? Because you can't build up your floor, you can't change that, nothing, right? So if we run a string test across there and then say that's our maximum height, or so that's the height, and then give a distance. I don't care if it's 16 inches below that, 14 inches below that, whatever it is, um, that could be the maximum distance you're allowed to go down. What do you think of something like that?
I I don't know. I think Super Street. There's got to be a way we can do it with no further down than the lowest part of the original frame, pinch weld, except for battery boxes, which has always been allowed.
So
I
so
think
okay, yeah, that's where I was getting at with this is, well, so we were saying whatever distance down, and we were gonna and where we came to a kind of decision was that 16, 18 inches, because that would be about the depth of a battery box of a single battery, and then you can put the batteries as far as you want across the bottom, but that's your maximum depth down.
I would say 10 inches, because not a battery, tops of battery is 10 inches. Okay, so maybe 12.
Yeah.
But you're not going to find, unless you're trying to run those North Stars and stay in the mud. And I'm sorry, ain't nobody going to run North Star and SPL.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but you see where I'm at with this thing. So, and what I was trying to explain to Aaron too, and I think he understood it, was the pinch welds. Those don't change on your vehicle.
Nope.
So the pinch weld, in my opinion, is a consistent line throughout an entire vehicle, and you can say the number comes off of that. That's
Yeah.
my opinion.
But I would pick a point,
Mhm.
because my pinch weld on my door, if you go to the back of my truck, it's
Mhm.
actually 3 inches higher because of the taper up.
So
So I would pick a point at the B pillar, pinch weld at the B pillar. That is your measuring point.
okay, so one of the things we discussed too, that's why I came with the string test across where the B pillar comes down and across. That's the spot that we can say, hey, that's where the pinch weld is. Okay, the pinch weld is 4 inches below this line, so that's where we're gonna go. That's kind of how we came up with that. I mean, like I said, it was just talking on the fly and trying to come up with a reasonable way to have that discussion. And like I said, anybody else has any discussions, post them up in the chat. We'll, we can talk about them, look at them, whatnot. But those are some of the things that we've talked about as far as the DB drag rules go. So now that we got that done, let's go back over here, and we are going to go to Bagger Beats. That's the one you suggested. So I have I have 5 people in Bagger Beats. We gave out 3 rings. Okay, we had Bagger Beats Quad No Limit, 1 person. We had Bagger Beats Bike 9+, 1 person. We had 3 people in Power Wheels. And then we had 1 on the West Coast. I believe, let me double check real quick. Bam. Go back here. One more back. West Coast, Sacramento. And Bagger Beats. Yes, we had 1 on the West Coast, and we had 1 bike on the West Coast. So we had a total, we gave out 5 rings, and we had 7 people participate in Bagger Beats. I'm sorry, and I think it was a great idea to try to get those bikes involved. But to be honest with you guys, I think that's got to go.
I agree, and I've helped Jeremy Creamer judge bikes down here, and it's phenomenal the things they're doing, but I don't think they really have a place in DB drag.
And now, mind you, that doesn't mean that a 1X that you can't have the Bagger Beats. Like, for me personally, I love the Power Wheels class. I think it's super important. I think it's a way for people to get involved and whatnot. And if we do have participation in the what's it called? In the Power Wheels class, and we want to do something, I say we do it, but we don't give out a ring, right? Because we got to make it, and we make it what they call an exhibition class at World Finals.
Yeah.
Maybe a trophy for first place or something, single trophy. Because ultimately, this is all I mean, I don't want to be crass about it. I'm not trying to be rude, but ultimately this is a business.
Yep.
And DB Drag is supposed to help a shop be able to sell product. And if they're not showing off bikes and Power Wheels at a shop, how is that going to help the shop sell product to get that in those vehicles, right? At World Finals, there's a dollar amount. When the dollar amount for the trophy exceeds the money that was paid in for entries, it makes it hard to continue that class. Would you
Yes,
agree?
absolutely, absolutely. And I
Yeah.
mean, I don't like taking classes away and eliminating vehicles, bikes,
Mhm.
but like you said, you got to understand. It's at the end of the day, this is a business, and you guys, whether people want to believe it or not, I know the DB drag judges or any judge in car audio that I know of is making a killing off this. You guys, the only killing you're making is the kindness and love in your heart because it ain't filling your pockets.
No. And as a matter of fact, I had a talk with Wayne about it a little bit today. Somebody asked me to go do a 2-day event out of town and this and that, and I explained to that particular individual that, um, for me, time is the most valuable thing in my personal life. A house, a car, um, stuff. I can get more of those. I can lose my house and get another house. I can lose my car, get another car. But time, I can never get that time back. And so personally in my life at this point, my time is the most valuable asset I own. It's time away from my wife, time away from my kids, time away from other hobbies, time away from my aunts and uncles. My grandmother just passed away this last week, and time away from them. And not that I dislike that time that I'm doing that, but I only have a finite amount of time, and you know, you're taken away from it, and that, like I said, that's just my value is the time, and I give my time up for a show, and like the Toys for Tots, right? I make $0 doing Toys for Tots. Doesn't matter to me at all. Like I said, that's my most valuable asset. That to me is more important than a toy, right? So when I'm donating my time, I know that the kids don't understand it, but I am actually giving my most valuable asset to that event, in my
Yeah.
opinion. You know. So, um, anyway, just a quick thing, guys. Don't um, don't worry about me. I understand your condolences and all that. I have a different thought on life and death. I'm a religious kind of guy, and death is just a transition. So it's not truly a loss for me. It's more of a see you later thing than a goodbye. So just so you
Going to
guys
a
know,
better place than where we're at.
that's right. So I'm not sad about it in any way, and I do understand people that are sad about it. It's just not how I look at things. So I do appreciate the condolences or whatever, but like I said, for me it's a joyous occasion. That's why I have a celebration of life, not a mourning of their passing. So, but that, like I said, that's just me, and I don't not against anybody, however they want to do it, and um, how they choose to mourn. That's all on them. So, um, anyway, so I will get back with that. Let's see. Um, so with that being said, time thing, the kids. I do want to real quick because probably the number one person um, uh, that this affects truly is Daryl Colley. He said he's cool with losing bikes, but the Power Wheels need to stick around. That's the future of our sport. These kids are our future. Andrew Gary agrees. Keep Power Wheels. There's more that compete than attend finals, and more coming up. I agree with that, but they need to attend finals to show Wayne that they're there, right?
Yep.
If they aren't showing up, then they aren't there. As far as Kramer had 4 Power Wheels. Um, Steve Willis says thought trophies are sponsored. Steve, to speak towards that is there becomes a budget. We can only ask for so much money from sponsors. The balance of that has to be covered by other people. I will tell you, for DB Drag, World Finals every year is a net loss. Thankfully, on the West Coast, I'm able to get venues and participate in other things that we can reduce our costs drastically compared to what it cost them on the East Coast to hold the finals. And for that reason, we aren't at a huge net loss, but we are still at a net loss every year for finals. Just want to put that out there. It's not Wayne's not making a ton of money. You can do the math, figure out what it cost him for hotels, flights, judging, all this stuff, trophies. I mean, trophies are way more expensive than you think, and we can only hit the sponsors for so much money. Back to Daryl. He said, or give the parents the option to sponsor the awards for Power Wheels. My company would support it. I know a few will sponsor the money because they love to see the kids. Now, let's see here. Sorry, blah 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 blah. It's hard for parents to get adult competition rigs and Power Wheels to shows that are far away. Understand that, Andrew. So my thought for Power Wheels is add it as an exhibition class to World Finals, and if they win, then they have the option of purchasing a ring.
Yep.
And I think that's fair everybody around. And to be honest with you, I think they should charge a nominal fee like $30, say, or something, right? If somebody's already competing, like their parent, specifically a parent, and you have a Power Wheels, charge them a nominal fee for the time of the judging and taking up the time. Not that it's a bad thing, and I really love doing them, but yeah. And then just give the parent the option of, hey, if you want a ring for this for the World Finals, here's what it's going to cost. It's going to cost $300 or $500, whatever the rings cost, and we'll have a ring for them for winning their championship. What do you think of that?
I agree with you. It's a good idea. There is something I gotta say before I lose the train of thought.
Okay.
I've seen something. Don't know who it is. Don't care. I'm not trying to call anybody out. Power Wheels has gotten away from what Power Wheels was. I've seen it. Power Wheels. I've seen the Power Wheels. I think it was the East Coast Finals.
It was.
It was on a hover round type of chassis. It was just the wheels wasn't even touching the ground anymore.
Yep. And I know what vehicle that is. So let me speak to that. So what happened was is he built up that stereo so much it collapsed the wheels. So he supported it, I believe, with a wheelchair frame.
Okay.
To support it. Now, I agree that in that case, yes, the Power Wheels is designed just like kind of DB Drag-ish. Is, hey, if that frame can't support it, then maybe that shouldn't be what it is, right? That's why DB Drag has, because of extreme vehicles, it has to be able to drive into the lane on its own power, right?
Yep.
For that same thing is people were taking the engines out to try and run those cars or whatever they were doing. So I agree. Yeah. Okay. So that's where we are with Power Wheels. We still have approximately 15 minutes left in this podcast. So like I said, any other things? Now let's hit the one that I am such a fan of right now. Let me see if I can't get to it here. DB Drag freestyle rules. All right. So I'm a huge fan of freestyle. But remember, so if we add a class, we have to remove a class. So if you say, hey, add this class to freestyle, keep in mind, what are we going to get rid of? Whether that's be Super Street 1 to 2, Super Street 3 to 4, right? What class are we going to dump to make freestyle happen? Okay.
Extreme 5K.
Extreme 5K. So for me, so right now, currently in the DB Drag, what's it called? Dang it, where's my matrix at? There it is. In the DB Drag program, there's pro stock or stock 5K, pro stock no limit, super street, a power limit 5K, and super street no limit and extreme. I believe those are the classes that are in there currently in the program. Um, so anyway, um, so with that being said, I personally at my shows, what I do is I run freestyle stock no limit and freestyle super street no limit. What's your thoughts on freestyle now that you've seen it a few times and whatnot?
I like it.
Hmm.
You gotta understand. I ran U.S.A.C for a lot of years because I was in Texas and DB Drag was like nothing out there.
Right.
So to compete, I had to do what was local.
Hmm.
I do like it. I do understand to have a class, you got to get rid of a class.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that I don't. There's got to be a different twist to it because there's no way if I want to compete in it, I'd have to go against Bo Bourne. Ain't no way in the
That's
world I'm
right. You
going
got
against
him.
Bo Bourne.
You got that.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah. I think I dreamt about it one time, but I think I had an extreme vehicle to do it. But yeah, no. But no, I mean
Yeah,
it's
or you're going against Dan, right? DTS
yeah,
Dan.
Dan Horner. Dan
Yeah.
Horner in a no-wall vehicle. But it's but I also understand there's gotta be a give and take.
Yes.
I don't want to have 60, 70 classes. I think it's ridiculous.
Yep. That's Mecca,
Um,
right? Mecca does that. Like
Mecca
54
has a bunch.
classes.
I like Mecca.
Okay.
It's kind of cool, but I think there's way too many classes. There's a bunch of new classes I didn't even know about. Oh, it's one where you can still put the sensor in a kick panel. I forget the Radical X. There's
Okay.
different classes of that now. I had no clue. I just like I said, I love Mecca. I love the owners of Mecca, but I'm not. It's too many classes. Narrow it down. So let's not get to that point. But I think there needs to be a different twist to the freestyle. It's a great idea.
Okay. What's your
Run with
thought?
it. Yes, but let's come up with something that's a little different.
So what's your thought then? Do you have an idea or just suggestion
I'm
of
not
let's
sure
something
yet.
different?
I've been contemplating on it and
Okay.
stuff like that. I think they're in the right direction, but I think I don't know. It's something I need to think about. Maybe I could bring to you later. But I mean, I couldn't honestly put it now. But how many classes are there right now in freestyle? Like 4, 3, 4?
So there's none that are defined, right? But right now I think there's 4 or 5 in the program. I run 2 at my shows. Just because, like, once again, every trophy I add. So a set of trophies, 3 trophies, full retail on it is about $160. So that means at $25 an entry,
Yeah.
I need 6 entries into that one class just to cover the cost of the trophy. That doesn't make any additional money for me because back when there was only 10 classes in DB Drag, I charged $500 for 1X event. Now I bring 48 trophies to an event. So I mean, I literally only brought 26 or 25 trophies to an event. I was charging $500. Now I'm bringing 38 or 39 trophies to a single event, and I'm still charging $500 for that fee. And do you think trophies are still the same price as they were in 2020 or 2000 even?
2000, no, not even close.
So, yeah. So, because it's difficult with sponsors, obviously, as you guys know, to say, hey, you know what? Hey, my prices went up. To keep up with inflation, I got to charge you $900 for that same 1X that, I was charging you a bunch of years ago for $500.
Yeah.
And how am I going to sell a show?
Yeah. I don't see how there's I don't know, a couple organizations that are not charging sanctioning fees or not charging people to do shows. They're just getting what money they get coming through the gate and people competing,
Man.
which is cool for a competitor.
Yep.
But it's not cool because it affects DB Drag, Mecca.
Mm-hmm.
I ask it affects them because these people are no longer wanting to do those shows because hey, I got Joe can come do it for nothing.
Yep.
You know, he don't charge me nothing. I let him use my electric. You know.
Yep.
That's yeah. So you got to find a way to keep the judges' costs down. So by adding more classes, it's definitely not going to do that. So,
I would agree with that.
So we need to, we just need to figure out what is not, you could almost be say that Super Street 1-2 this year was just terrible turnout. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I won it both coasts, but I never really won a national. You could say I did. I got the ring, but I didn't have nobody to compete against. Now this year, I know there's a bunch of people coming in my class.
That's awesome. I appreciate that.
Yes, that is freaking great. But we got to look at maybe set and go back and do a 5-year dig and see what classes hurt, or 3-year. What classes have been slim across the board, East Coast, West Coast, and then maybe look at that.
And to be honest with you, don't have to remove them from a 1X or a 2X,
No.
but remove them from World Finals.
Yep.
And use the 1X, 2X, and 3Xs. They can still accrue points, but at a 3X, you have to compete in one of these classes if you tend to go to World Finals, right? You're going to have to. So just say Super Street 1-2 is not a viable class at World Finals, but Super Street 3-4, okay? That's just how it is. I mean, I understand. I mean, it's difficult when you go back into 2001, 2003. Shit, there were 17 people in Super Street 1-2 at one location.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So I do understand, and those 17 people, first place to 17th place, you're only talking 5-6 dB from first to 17th place.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so before we run out of time, we're at 52 minutes right now. Let's hit base race right here. Anything you'd like to see change about base race? I know we have the song quality thing. You're not a base racer at all, though, right?
No, but I kind of follow it.
Okay.
And I like that was Wayne incorporated that.
I do too.
And I've seen that at my show. I couldn't understand what was going on with the guy. He couldn't get the sound quality portion of it. And then Jeremy explained it to me, and I was like, "Oh, I like this." That makes you have to play a real song, not something that you've added a bass line to.
So, just a quick note. The reason that exists is, multiple locations. It just makes it difficult to believe that somebody's song they're using somewhere else is legal. Now we got the computer that'll tell it for us, yes or no, right? That's one great thing about it. There's ways around it which people have figured out, which is cool, which is fine, but you're still got to control your system, and because it's there, it makes it harder to go around it. Before, it was much easier to use certain songs to achieve the end goal. Now with the song quality thing, and just so you know, the competitors are the ones that helped Wayne develop that. It was a lot of Steve Mick helping out, and a handful of other base race competitors that helped kind of organize that portion of it so that it would work. So I totally appreciate that. I'm totally good with all that. I like my classes I have. How many people come, they compete. I would like to see more participation in base race, but it is what it is. Let's see here. Bagger Beats, we talked about. Top Dog. How about you, sir? Anything with Top Dog?
I don't understand it. And to be honest with you, as long as you don't run it at the end of finals where it goes on till 2 and 3 in the morning like it has before, you can keep it.
Okay, hold on. You were at the West Coast Top World Finals, and I did Top Dog at the end. How did that go?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I'm talking about a couple years back.
Well, I
It
understand that.
really
That's because not everybody can run a top dog event like I can.
did. But
Hey, you
no,
can't
West Coast
deny,
is good.
right? My
Yep.
shows, I definitely
I,
put the competitors on notice that hey, your time comes, you have to be there, right?
yep. Oh yeah, and nobody can take away that you run a tight ship, and nobody can take
So
that away from you. And I love it.
so
Very well ran shows, but yeah, that's the only thing. I mean, top dog it is. I don't understand it, so I can't really speak upon it.
okay. So Top Dog is huge fan. He's a huge fan. Top Dog is Wayne's idea of a video game. So you get points for getting as close as you can to the 9.9 without going over it. The closer you are, the more points you get. Whoever has the most points at the end wins. And every win you get, I think you get 1,000 points or 3,000 points for winning that run also. So it's but it's definitely strategic because you can get to a point where your points are so high that even if somebody comes in and wins below you, they can't beat you at the end. So
Yeah.
it's definitely strategic. Oh, there we go. One more two hit real quick before we disappear. I had it up here. I want to get on that real quick. Cyclone. Do you follow Cyclone at all?
No.
Okay, so Cyclone is one of my favorite classes. I was a big part of that when we started it. Wayne, Don Hebig, Ray Choi, all that. And when we started it, we had good intentions, and I think it was good. I will say at my shows, um, we we stopped doing the traditional Cyclone where we RTA. There's zero value because I consider my show, right? So I'm there as a entertainer. There's zero value in the RTA portion as an entertaining part of the show. To sit and
Yes.
watch somebody play for 45 seconds is not exciting. And everything has to be quiet around because the ambient noise can create issues, and it causes a lot of problems. So, one thing I would strongly recommend, and Wayne has talked about, not saying it's happening, get that right. This is just us talking. This is not a decision by Wayne by any means with anything we've talked about tonight. Um, but I say we get rid of the traditional classes and just keep the demo classes. No RTA. I wouldn't be opposed to keeping the install score because the install score is there to kind of separate people. Do you have a 5 band or greater equalizer? Do you have crossovers? Do you have this? Do you have that? And the idea behind that is guess what? If you don't have that, you can go in that stereo shop right there and buy fuses, stick them next to your batteries right now, and you can get those extra 10 points. So I am a fan of the install score. But I do think the demo wall is what it is. Jeremy Creamer says, somebody said, who said that? Oh, Steve. Team Mini says, I love Cyclone. And Jeremy Creamer says, I fall asleep. By the way, love you. Because Stevens, so once again, that's a class we had one person between both locations for traditional Cyclone. And Jay's Alarms says deathmatch is always entertaining for all, but that's a side thing. Once again, that's an exhibition. It shouldn't be a class. It should be an exhibition. It should be treated as an exhibition, right? You agree or disagree
Yeah.
or?
Oh, I agree. I truly agree.
Yeah. So stereo shops aren't holding shows like they used to because too many online brands are cheaper than what the shops have and carry. That's from Andrew Gary. I believe Andrew's out of is he?
Michigan.
Where's he at?
Michigan.
Oh, he's the Michigan guy. Okay. But anyway, so Jay gave out a bunch of money for his death matches this year. His first one, I think he gave away $1 per DB. The second one he gave away $2. The third one he gave away $4, and then he gave away $5 per DB of the winning score in death match. So he ended up giving like $700 away to Ray Maestas at the final show of the year for him. Yeah, man. Even T Mini says, "Yeah, I got to agree. RTA is boring to watch." So
yeah, I think I would say yeah, it's something that kind of needs to go.
yeah. All right, so we're right at the 1 hour mark. Remember, I got to get somewhere, so I do appreciate you guys. This is awesome. Hey, I want to thank you for stopping in. Real quick rundown. We think 1K 500 due to the lack of participation, or yeah, 1,500 due to lack of participation in or street stocks. You could probably go away for finals along with Extreme 5K. Probably the Cyclone Wall and Cyclone No Wall, which is the traditional Cyclone, possibly go away. Bagger Beats go away except for the Power Wheels, and the Power Wheels possibly do an exhibition and allow the parents to buy a ring if they win Bagger Beats. The no wheels class, but the bikes definitely not enough participation to continue that. And I think that was it. And then maybe fine tune freestyle a little bit for everybody else.
Yep.
That sound pretty decent?
Sounds good.
All right. Hey, anything else you want to hit real quick before we take off, Rob?
No, just try to bring at least one person to every show.
Yep.
Let's get some more members. We can get every member could bring one member a year.
Yep.
Yeah, this funny thing would be huge again.
It would be. Sorry you're feeling under the weather, by the way, but I appreciate you coming on. For my final thought here is, remember, I'm sorry to see Lucky go. Lucky says he won't be back. I'm actually in the process of looking for another co-host for these every Monday night at 6 p.m. California time, because that's the only time that really matters, obviously. But if you want to tip the host, right there, you can hit it at the top. You see it's Sonic FX at Sonic FX and $ Sonic FX. It's in the description. Like and share this as much as you can, especially since Lucky's not here. I lost 100+ shares every single show because Lucky shared to over 100 sites. So if you guys could please share this as much as you can. If you want to tip us, as Lucky said, and I'm not opposed to, no $100 is too small for the host. But hey guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. Thank you for participating. Please like and comment, share. What else is there? Subscribe to me on Facebook and also on YouTube. Make a comment on the YouTube itself, not on the live stream. That helps with the algorithm. Smash the angry faces, thumbs up, like buttons, smash everything you can. Let's show the world what we do and have a productive conversation. Once again, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. And next week, we're supposed to have Nick with Incriminator Audio. He's going to talk about the new R4 subwoofer, what makes it special, and what he's going to do with it. Once again, guys, we appreciate you coming in, and we will see you next week. We are out.